21st, 2025, this is DC Action News, reporting bravely and boldly every Wednesday as the news breaks from the center of the multiverse. I'm Alex Jaffe. Our top story, Inferno revealed. The robe-wearing super-terrorists who have been attacking rainforests, political figures, and generally keeping the Justice League occupied in their new unlimited configuration made their identities public this week as the original Legion of Doom, including such presently reformed figures as Lex Luthor and Sinestro. According to joint statements from Supercorp and the Green Lantern Corps, this Legion's roster was assembled from the past by the time-traveling Gorilla Grodd, and as such should bear no new culpability on their modern-day reformed counterparts. The Legion's Sinestro and Scarecrow have, as of this report, taken control of the Superman Museum in Metropolis, and has made its display pieces functional through Sinestro's power ring. Metropolis citizens are advised to stay vigilant for the activity of any villain who may have been featured in the old Challenge of the Super Friends cartoon. Next, the murder of the war god Ares has been solved. Summoned to Mount Olympus to solve the case, Wonder Woman and personal consultant Batman have identified that her mother Hippolyta was, in fact, framed for the crime. Turns out it was Zeus, mad that his son, the war god, was developing compassion. As the deity who runs the pantheon anyway, Zeus is expected to face no serious consequences for this act of filicide. No new developments in the unrelated recent murder of the new god Lightray, save for a new Genesis spacecraft recently intercepted by the Justice League on collision course with Earth. In Gotham, former GCPD detective Harvey Bullock has been reported missing in his investigation of the recent deaths of juveniles at the faultless correctional facilities under Warden Slattery. Bullock, dismissed from the police force by GCPD Commissioner and ancient immortal caveman Vandal Savage, was following ties to a cabal of the wealthy elite harvesting children's blood to extend their own lives. I'm not touching this one. Let's move on. Just across the way in Bloodhaven, the urban myth Captain Hallow, said to be the spirit of the city's first officer killed in the line of duty, now hunting those in death who would abuse the badge's authority, has been popularly held responsible for the recent murder of popular right-wing hero cop Frank Dietrich. Further investigation by Commissioner Margaret Sawyer has confirmed that the alleged spirit has in fact been the fabrication of 4 living former officers, all recently dismissed from the BPD on corruption charges themselves, including Dietrich's former partner, Henry Allison. The officers stand accused of murdering Dietrich in an act of revenge, as the only officer in their racketeering circle who didn't take the fall with them, instead being promoted to the experimental Helios mech suit program. It seems that whether you're a mecha cop or a ghost cop, there are no exceptions to ACAB. Celebrity news, entertainment, and business after this.
Hi, I'm Amy Rose, and I'm here to tell you, you can be an Amazon. Any girl can be an Amazon. Even girls who only feel like girls on the inside. And we're the cool kind of Amazons too. Not the ones where you gotta cut off one of your...
Listen, it was an older time. We had gone through some management changes, leaving us with this one girl who was just obsessed with the... You know what? Never mind.
But yes, you can be an Amazon. Join today.
Welcome back to DC Action News. In celebrity news, the New York-based young superhero team The Titans have just debuted their newest member in a standoff with Orca and the Whalesenders gang, the statuesque android Venadia. Titans followers may recall Venadia as the robot built by Professor T.O. Morrow from the Amazo template, commissioned by Amanda Waller to channel the powers of the Titans in order to destroy them. Now apparently reformed, Venadia is operating under the supervision of Cyborg, the team's cybernetics expert. Although the new addition has been reasonably met with skepticism in consideration of the team's long history of bringing in moles and double agents, some commenters note a certain advantage to recruiting a member who has already pre-betrayed the team before her start date. Sometimes you just have to get it out of the way. On the West Coast, Zatanna's tour date delays continue following a showdown at Brother Knight's Crimson Palace nightclub, a premier spot for the dark magic community. Zatanna was seen crashing the club's Night of Desires event, a hedonistic bacchanal of forbidden delights designed to empower Brother Knight as an act of worship. The event was cut short in a battle between Zatanna and Blue Devil, now hosting the demon Nibiros. As part of standard supervillain policy, no refunds for the event are being offered at this time. Finally, in business, Imani Edge, ex-wife of Galaxy Communications founder Morgan Edge, has purchased a partnership with her divorce settlement in the competing Daily Planet. Edge recently announced her intentions to help bring the Daily Planet brand global. We snagged a few minutes from Editor-in-Chief Lois Lane's schedule to find out what this means for the great metropolitan newspaper. Miss Lane, thank you so much for joining us on DC Action News.
You better make this worth my time because I'm very much on deadline. But your repeated emails made it incredibly clear that you wanted to talk to me, okay? So I'm here.
I'm sorry. Do you prefer Lane or Lane Kent? I've never been clear on that.
Just Lane is fine. What do you want to ask me? Just get on with it.
All right. Well, the DC Action News team, I'd be remiss not to bring up that we all have fond memories of you taking on the former president task in the press corps during the Luthor administration.
Mm-hmm,
and how we'd always find you at the front lines of any story.
The question. What's the question?
Okay. We just want to know how you've adjusted from your career as one of the top journalists at the Daily Planet to editor-in-chief.
You know, I really do have a passion for news, and that means I do have a passion for mentorship and guiding the paper. It is hard, you know, I do like being where the action is. That is true. But I do feel like a lot of the action does take place in many of these endless meetings that I'm forced to see over. But it's a little different. It is different, but it's not less yelling.
Well, we do have you here for a reason. We're here to talk about how the Planet recently announced intentions to expand from a metropolis organization to a global brand. What does that mean for the future of your paper?
It means more meetings. It means that we've already been covering global news and we were just expanding our global desk, hopefully not taking away from the local coverage of Metropolis that I know our many subscribers do depend and rely on. But somebody somewhere that has an investment portfolio he wants to grow decided that we needed to change how we're branded. So we're doing that.
I'd like to address your mentor and predecessor as editor, Perry White. He was just elected the mayor of Metropolis. What do you have to say to those who claim that presents a conflict of interest in the Planet's political reporting?
I'd say they don't know how this job works. We all know each other. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Just literally don't worry about it. Let us do our jobs, you do your jobs. You know, I don't go around the streets of Metropolis telling the bus drivers how to drive their buses. You know, I don't tell Superman what to do. You can just leave me alone and let me do my stupid job.
Now, I'm glad you brought up Superman, because you've always been the premier Superman reporter in Metropolis. But now that you've taken a managerial role, your husband, Clark Kent, is on the Superman beat. Did you have any advice for him as he took that job on?
Don't f*** it up. That was my main set of advice for him, but that's usually what I give him in terms of advice literally every day. And so far, so good. You know, Clark's doing all right.
Do you and Superman still talk?
Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
I mean, our listeners are very invested in that because,
listen, that's a personal matter. I wasn't sure. I thought you'd be talking to me about my job and not my personal relationships with individuals.
Okay.
Listen, I have a limited amount of time away from my desk. So if you have any more questions about my job and how I do my job, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, let's talk about that then. Let's talk about Superwoman. The Daily Planet has had a very difficult time getting any information or even a clear picture of her. Do you have any insight on the difficulty there?
Listen, somebody will throw themselves off a building and get a picture of this lady at some point or another. Just, again, it's a process. Reporting is a process. Just don't worry about it. We got it handled. We got it covered.
Seems like the main takeaway is don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I could not possibly be more clear.
All right. I don't want to waste any more of your time. I just have to ask, do you have any advice for young reporters looking to get their first Pulitzer?
It is a hard gig. And especially if you are a person of color, a woman, a transgender, if you're marginalized in any way, it's going to be 10 times, 100 times harder for you than anyone else. The biggest advantage I've had in my career is being stubborn as hell. Do not allow people to block you out of a room. Run into it, bust into it, throw yourself off a building to get a quote from the person you want if you really need to. Your persistence will be rewarded, and suddenly everyone will be telling you what a brilliant genius you are and trying to make you their boss.
Chief, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, okay.
We'd like to thank Miss Lane for her time, but for now, that's all the news on our Prime Earth. We'll be back next week. For DC Action News, this is Alex Jaffe, and your day has now been saved. For more on these developing stories, read Superman Batman, World's Finest number 39, Wonder Woman number 21, New Gods number 6, Detective Comics number 1097, Nightwing number 126, DC Sonic the Hedgehog number 3, Titans number 23, Zatanna number 4, and Superman Unlimited number 1. DC Action News was created by Alex Jaffe and is produced by Alex Jaffe and Esper Quinn. Additional voices by Ash Parrish and Gita Jackson. This is a listener-supported broadcast. Your contributions to patreon.com/DC Action News keep us running. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of DC or Warner Brothers Discovery, nor should they be read as confirmation or denial of future plans. Never stop reading comics.